Alright, what's up ladies and gents and non-binary people? I hope you're doing well, and today this video is actually not YouTube related at all, but rather just kind of my overall take on some heavy discussion that had been going on over on social media the past weeks or so. Recently, with the rise of movements like Super Straight, I noticed a lot of people talking about the transgender identity, which is great because it's something that needs to be addressed and acknowledged, but specifically about how the dating life of a transgender person should look like and how non-transgender people have to react to it. And there have been a lot of arguments and statements I heavily and fundamentally disagree with. So for this video I'd like to just share my overall thoughts on this subject to you people. Meaning if you'd like to hear some random bloke's worthless opinion on sensitive subjects, then this video is for you, and also make sure to sub to the channel if you want to see more of that. Now, something that particularly caught my eye amongst other statements, not just by popular TikToks, was one of the posts a close mate of mine made on one of her social media platforms. That kinda inspired me to even publicly speak on this whole matter, because I've seen a lot of similar stuff to it, and even direct reposts by blog as well. By the way, the statement turned out to be some repost by some feminist page that I can't bother to look up. But I'm not actually a jerk, and I'm really paranoid about some of my IRL mates finding my YouTube channel, so I just wrote a quick sum up on my phone's notes. So this states, in regards to a recent wave of blatantly transphobic behavior on TikTok, this is referencing the super straight movement, I need you to understand that as a straight white male, if you are not dating transgender woman, you are transphobic. By rejecting a trans person, you are basically invalidating their gender identity. Yes, people have types, but if your type specifically excludes transgender people, you are transphobic, and I won't entertain any other thoughts. Get the fuck out of here with your transphobia. Now, this is a very interesting example because a lot of people, specifically progressive users on Twitter, really adopted this mindset, but I have to fundamentally disagree with this entire sentiment. Here's why. For this whole conversation, we first need to establish that a transgender person should be fully and completely seen as normal women or men, and therefore be treated and respected just like biological women are. I absolutely agree with the transgender identity, and I heavily disapprove of some people still acting in a condescending way towards people with a transgender background. For real, why would it even bother you what they identify as? I really can't comprehend this alt-right philosophy of transphobia, but still it has to be clarified that not accepting people with transgender backgrounds and not pursuing any relationships with people with transgender backgrounds are two vastly different outlooks. Just because you aren't interacting with any transgender individuals, you can still be, believe it or not, accepting of the same group of people. In order to rearrange our thought process for a second here to showcase what I mean, let's move this entire conversation to gay people. I would assume and hope that at least 99% of people that are watching this are supportive or indifferent about gay people, except for the Pope, I guess. But I can also safely assume that some of y'all might not have a bunch of gay people, or maybe none at all, in your direct environment. Now, that doesn't make you automatically homophobic, does it? Because of course you aren't directly choosing who you're surrounding yourself with of sexuality, or at least I'd hope you aren't, which means it is in many cases purely coincidental, and that's exactly the kind of mindset we should also be applying to relationships with transgender people. In most cases you aren't directly excluding people with transgender background, so you definitely shouldn't be considered a transphobe. Now, this post in particular also applied this entire transgender acceptance conversation not to just mutual acquaintanceship, but expanded onto transgender relationships, painting everybody that refuses to enter these kind of relationships as a transphobe, specifically if you are a straight white male. But I'll purposely choose to ignore the cis white male remarks, as this isn't a discussion about straight white males, and their particular mindset of only white males being transphobic is vastly unpopular anyway. You should either hold the opinion that everyone not dating transgender people is transphobic, or that nobody is. You can't just say as a white male you're transphobic, but as a black guy it's somehow impossible for you to be a transphobe. Anyway, for relationships with people with transgender background, I personally at least strongly hold the opinion that it should be entirely your choice who you would like to enter relationships with. Nobody else should be allowed to force you to start dating someone just because of their identity or background other than yourself. Now, I really did not want to enter this whole super straight movement conversation in this video, as it in my eyes doesn't deserve all the attention it is receiving. For those of you that are unaware though, recently there has been a rise of a new quote-unquote sexuality on TikTok, that being the super straight identity, essentially identifying yourself as a biological man or woman who exclusively dates other biological men and women. I know what you're thinking. This is obviously not asexuality, but just personal preference. But what you're forgetting is, this is TikTok, what do you expect? Still, while I hold no respect for this sexual movement, I also heavily disapprove of the mindset that a lot of people had been getting into as a response to this movement of, oh, just because this person is a minority, you need to date them if they're even remotely interested in you, which is being portrayed in the sample I read, for example. And I just have to say, no, it's clearly not. It again comes down to personal preference, which should be extremely apparent from the get-go. We could again move this to gay people. Here they are saying you are dating transgender people, meaning you specifically exclude a certain group of people from your dating life, therefore you are transphobic. But that would also mean all straight men are homophobic, because they don't date gay people. They specifically don't engage in intimate relationships with them, for the obvious reason of not being attracted to other men. What's more is that this could even be applied to gay people themselves. They're also, by your logic, excluding a specific group of people, that being women and straight men. And that would make them something phobic as well, wouldn't it? Now that seems like a fucking great conclusion, man. Just kidding, obviously not. The logic of this entire argument just annoyed me quite a bit when I saw it posted over and over again on social media. That's why I kinda had to speak on it. So I really hope nobody was actually convinced into believing that they're somehow a transphobe now, just because they're not dating a transgender person. Plus, with transgender people in particular, you have to take into account that not everybody did the surgery, if you know what I'm referring to. Which obviously, if you're trying to pursue a relationship with them and they still have a bug in their pants, it should be a free choice to just be like, okay, that's just not for me. But no, apparently some people genuinely believe that this simple and humane choice would make you transphobic. Like, it doesn't even equate to the person being transphobic at all, just not to them being interested in that. I know this will come across as hugely controversial, but I'm actually also quite approving of the sentiment that as a transgender person, if you still have the private parts of your previous identity, you should tell whoever you are trying to pursue that you still have, you know. It, in my eyes, just exemplifies respect and dignity towards the other person you are pursuing, if you can be straight up with them. Plus, you know right off the bat if they will be interested or not, and you avoid a possibly incredibly awkward interaction later on. So why not just do it, is what I'm thinking. Like, some extremely progressive people definitely take this too far in saying, oh, you shouldn't tell them if you're transgender. Like, no, clearly it would show respect and dignity if you did. So yeah, dating transgender people as a biological woman or man. These were kind of my thoughts on this entire situation. Again, are you transphobic for excluding transgender people out of your dating life? Definitely not. I'll stand with that 100%. Also, don't worry, this isn't turning into a dating advice channel. I was just really interested in this subject for some reason. But let me know your opinion about this topic down in the comments. I'll read them all. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Drop a like on this video. I heavily appreciate it. And yeah, I hope I'll see you people around. Stay safe.